Simon Kile is a surfboard builder working out of Waterman's Guild in Santa Ana, California. Kyle did stints in his own factories as well as shaped for brands like Channel Islands. In 2018, Simon made his way to the Waterman's Guild, where he shapes for a myriad of labels. Waterman's Guild is known for building some of the finest surfboards in the world, shaping and glassing boards for Corey Graham, Ryan Angle, Dewey Weber, Kile, The Guild, and Love Machine. Greg Martz founded the glass shop in 1983 and has always been known for high-quality laminating, specifically insane freehand cut laps. Now run by Greg's son Ryan Martz, Waterman's Guild operates under the same over-the-top standards it's always held.
My name's Simon Kile, shaper at Waterman's Guild, Santa Ana. I've been shaping out of the Waterman's Guild since 2018. And prior to that, I was out of Channel Islands in Santa Barbara for quite a while. I've had my own factories, I've glassed lots of boards, but I've always shaped. You know, channels can take a lot of time. I hand cut in a lot of the channels. Even if the board is off the computer, I'll still hand cut in the channels. A lot of guys will use like a round sure form, something like one of these kind of options. And I was there too for a long time. Something like this, you know, round, get in there and hog out the channel. But it took me longer. Some people will use, you know, like a dowel, like a 1-inch dowel, wrap sandpaper around that and get in there. And I wanted to skip steps, you know, I wanted to get more efficient with channels. So I went to 80 grit screen rolled up to the profile of the channel that I wanted. And that's literally how I dig out my channels. I'll tape the channel off and I'll dig it out with the 80 grit roll. Being a screen, it doesn't load up like sandpaper, so I can just keep going and it doesn't load up. And then from here, I switch to another interesting tool, this one. And all this is a piece of wooden hand railing you'd get from the hardware store for your staircase. Flip it over, and this profile is great for channels because it leads me into this flat spot versus some of these other tools are purely round, and so you're getting after it with a block and a sure form and tool after tool. So yeah, I'll just dig out to depth with my round screen, and then I'll get after it with this and dig it out sort of in that profile. And then clean it up with a block, and then I'm done. And it's just an efficiency thing. Everybody uses different tools. Every shaper's got a different approach. But sometimes you can get sort of, you know, the Aussies will call it analysis paralysis. You know what I mean? So to dig out channels, you'll have, you know, 10 tools to dig out channels. Just simpler is better. Just find something that's aggressive but doesn't scar up the foam, and then clean it up and get out of there onto the next one. How I decided this size was, you know, channels are hard enough to glass as it is. So you got to partner up with the guys glassing it and going, how can I make these channels easier for you to glass and have it come out the right depth and shape that the designer wanted? And so I literally went in there and said, what size finger is the laminator and what size finger is the sander? Because the sander's going to get in there with sandpaper wrapped around his finger, and he's going to be doing this at some point. Same thing with a glasser. He's going to glass and he's going to get in here with his finger and push that excess resin out. So this size is based on a human finger because that's the tool that those guys are going to be using in here. They're not going to have some specialized tool. The sander might have a special little sanding tool to get in there, but for the most part, it's going to be their finger. And so this is basically a screen finger.
How long have you been running with that specific one too? Do you remake those?
Well, it's 80 grit.
Yeah.
So when it dulls, I just let it unroll a little bit,
yeah.
And then so it's back to the same size, and then stick a pin in it. So this same one's been with me for years. But it's 80 grit screen. It doesn't. And why screen and not sandpaper? Because the sandpaper gets the dust underneath it, and then it's just sliding around on the dust and stops cutting. Whereas the screen, the dust is flowing through it, so I can just keep going and it never kind of loads up. Yeah, it's just, we all have this laying around, and it's a great tool for channels. Like any shaper that after a while, they start to adapt tools to their style of shaping. No two people shape the same. So no two shapers are gonna have the same tool setup either. Yeah. You have to, it really just comes down to what you find yourself proficient at. If that tool's not working for you, you're gonna find it's gonna be over in the corner collecting dust, so you're never gonna use it. So naturally you do kind of get down to, this is my setup. But if you're shaping production, if it's a profession and not a hobby, it's a good idea to re-examine your program and get efficient. Time is money. Yeah. Shaping surfboards is a great way to spend your day, but if you're only doing 2 to 3 boards a day, you might not be making your mortgage. So you need to sort of bridge the gap between taking the right amount of time and really doing it right. And once you know how to get there, then go back and find out how to get there quicker. And that's just it.